It's 11:30 p.m. on a slow Sunday night, and the Instagram reels that you've been scrolling through could not get more hilarious. As you like the 50th post of the night, you suddenly remember your summative research essay for AP English that's due 8 a.m. the next morning, and you haven't even started. The clock is ticking, and as you realize there's still a long list of to-dos to complete on top of your essay, like your extracurriculars, homework, chores, etc., the all too familiar feeling of regret and overwhelming anxiety starts to creep in. The hours pass by quickly as you finally sit down to write your essay, and before you know it, your week is off to another sleep-deprived start. Procrastination. It's a sneaky habit that gets to the best of us, ultimately leading to negative impacts on your personal health and success. With that in mind, it's important to find effective methods that can be used to combat procrastination. Because it impacts so much of our lives and shapes future outcomes, it's important to be aware of the emotional and physical aspects it has on our health, as well as effective ways we can use to combat it. Let's start with the physical toll. Procrastination doesn't just delay tasks, it disrupts our health in ways that we often overlook. Research shows that procrastination often leads to less sleep time. In 2021, a study published in the Journal of Behavioral Sleep Medicine shows that chronic procrastinators often have less and delayed bedtimes, leading to a phenomenon called revenge bedtime procrastination. Less sleep time means people have less energy and focus the next day, leading to a vicious cycle of poor productivity and fatigue. But it doesn't just stop at sleep. Procrastination is linked to higher levels of stress, which can cause serious health conditions. In 2015, there was an article published onto Health Psychology that shows that people who procrastinate have higher blood level pressures, have an increased risk of cardiovascular disease, and also they have a weaker immune system overall. As people put off time that should be spent working, they're also putting off precious sleep time that is needed for brain development and growth. Procrastination, the body bears the brunt of procrastination, not just the calendar. And as people procrastinate more, it leads to clear physical risks and health issues. But speaking of health issues, let's not forget the mental aspects that procrastination plays a role in. Procrastination doesn't just impact the body, but it wears down on your mind and emotions. As the amount of work piles up for people, it's natural to feel more irritated, anxious, and miserable in general. As for me, that looked like having less motivation in my personal life and sleeping more in classes than I'd like to think. This is because as procrastination happens, it also impacts your sleep schedule, and for me personally, it made me more anxious and stressed, which made my procrastination slump even worse. Every time I would sit down to work, I would also think of the worries and stresses that came with it, which naturally drove me less to just rotting on my bed and doom scrolling instead. However, this is also true in many people around us as well. Procrastination leads and impacts to other aspects of your life that are hard to reverse. But let's contrast that with an experience I had where I was able to effectively use my time. Whenever I would sit down to work, like doing my homework, studying, or like going outside, even to go for a walk, anything that didn't have me like rotting in bed, I was able to see like good positive impacts in the rest of my life. For one, I started having a better drive to do work. The peaceful thought that all my work was taken care of beforehand gave me more motivation to keep going. I had more energy, I was happy and felt lighter as well, and I didn't have the constant thought of a looming deadline in the back of my mind. However, the good news is that procrastination isn't a life sentence. It's a habit, and like all habits, it can be reversed. The key step to reversing your habit of procrastination first is understanding where it comes from. Procrastination is often linked to stress, burnout, and a fear of failure. It might be helpful to ask yourself, are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you a perfectionist? Afraid of failing? These questions are helpful. And once you're able to kind of pinpoint the direct cause, you're able to directly address it better. The next step, or a next effective tool, is to start small. Psychologist Tim Peichel, an expert in procrastination, suggests that people take larger tasks and break them down into smaller chunks, allowing it to be more manageable. And as you're able to complete these smaller chunks, it gives you the momentum to be able to look at larger tasks and be able to take away the daunting task of it all. Next, you should be able to reward yourself. Celebrate the small wins. That can look like giving yourself a treat, taking a break, or just taking the moment to recognize all the progress you've made so far. And lastly, it's important to keep yourself accountable. That can be asking a friend, a family, or using an app that tracks your progress. Anything that you trust will be able to keep you on track and in line as you combat procrastination. Remember, just because you employ any of these effective methods doesn't mean that you'll automatically be free from falling back into the habit again. It's not realistic, but these small changes that you take are able to transform and create better futures. Every small step counts, and as long as you are effectively acknowledging your failures and you're working to strive, you'll be able to see the results in no time. So what's the takeaway? Procrastination is a sneaky habit that not only takes a toll on your mental health, but also physically and your personal success. However, there are many ways that you can employ in order to combat this issue. Overall, it's important when looking at the future to be able to remind yourself the impact of what you do in the present. Don't wait for tomorrow to decide when change starts. Instead, take charge today and decide when tomorrow truly begins. Thank you.